Hey everybody, welcome. In this video, we are going to discuss about bash scripting. So up until this point, we have been writing commands and we are writing those commands directly and we are directly executing them by writing them into the prompt. So, or in the terminal. So when you do like this, if we open up our terminal and when we do like this, we are executing our commands basically directly, okay, and we are getting the results instantly. So now if you want to write a script in which you would be performing these commands, let's say you want to create a text file and then you want to change its user privileges or file permissions. So you would write a script that would create a file and that would change its user's permission, and every time you will execute that file it will happen whatever you want to do. Okay, for example, we want to do two things, as I have said, that we want to create a file, okay, and then we want to change the user privileges of that file. Okay, so in our case, if we want to write a script for bash shell, we'd go ahead and write something like, let's say, nano, and then the file name, let's say bash script. Then we're gonna write here .sh. So .sh, basically it is a clue that it represents that there are number of commands in this file which are meant to be executed. Okay, so it basically represents that it is a script and it is gonna have multiple commands possible into it which needs attention and which are executable, which are to be executed. So if you hit enter, you get into the file, and this file right now is empty. So the idea is that in the very first line we always write the path to the shell that we want to execute. So the first line is gonna be something like this, / and then exclamation mark bin / bash. Okay, so that is always going to be our first line. So / and exclamation mark, it indicates that it is the first line, and it has to be the first line because it has the path to the interpreter. So this line has multiple names, but the bottom line is that it will help you reach the shell. Okay, after you have written the first line, which is in charge of handling the script, in bash you basically write one command per line, keeping everything to the extreme left. So yes, it is possible that you can hit enter twice or thrice, and you can give some spaces like we give in terminal. So after that you can write any sort of command. So for example, we write here touch, and let's say we want to create a file and we want to name the file as bash text file. Okay, so .text. This is the first line. So when this script will be executed, this is the first thing it is gonna do, that it is going to create this file. And the second thing that we want the user privileges to be like full, that the public user could read, write, execute, the group users could read, write, execute, and the owner could read, write, execute. So we want to give all the privileges. So for that, what we would do, that we'd write here chmod, and then we'd write here 777, and then we'd write here the file name, which is essentially bash text file .text. So once we have done that, once we have written these like two commands in one script, so what we are gonna do now, that we will try to save it, and the name of the file is bashscript.sh. So we'll hit enter, and now if we ls, you can see that we have bashscript.sh right here. So now right now you can see that it is not executable, right? How do I know? Because the color of this script will turn something like this color, light green. Okay, so right now it is, you know, white, it is not colored. It tells me that it is not yet executable. So if I want to take a look at the user privileges, so you can see here that I can read and write, you know, but I cannot execute this file, right? So now what I'm gonna do, that let's say it isn't executable, but that doesn't really necessarily mean that you cannot run it. You can run it using a bash. You know, you can just tell it that it is a bash command. Okay, sorry, a bash file or a bash script. So you write here bash, and then you write the file name or the script name, which is essentially in our case bash script.sh. Okay, so if you hit enter, now if we ls, you can see that the bash script has been executed and a bash text file has been created, and its user privileges, let me show you the user privileges of the bash text file dot text. So you can see that, you know, it's full 7777, which means that it can read and write and execute, the group can read and write and execute, and the you know, public user can also read and write and execute. Okay, so this has turned light green. So what if we want to turn this, you know, executable? So if we want to make this executable, what we've got to do, let's say we have got to do the same thing that we have done inside this script. Okay, so we'll write here, let me just clear it, we'll write here chmod, and then we'll write here 777 or maybe 775, and then we'd write here the file name, which is essentially bash script dot sh. Okay, so we hit enter. Now if we ls, you can see that this bash script dot sh has become executable. So once you have done that, you can also go ahead and you can make changes in that script. So let's say if I want to like bash script, if I want to nano bash script dot sh. So remember that this first line has to be that way. Okay, and then let's say if I add a few more commands into it, let's say I want to create another file, touch, and let's say I want to create it as, let's say, Linux users here dot text file, and let's say that I want to echo something as well. This is home variable, and then after that I echo the, let's say, home variable, right? So you know, these are like multiple commands. So I save it like this, Control-O, and then exit. So now once we have done that, let me just ls first. Okay, so this file is executable. So now let's say if I run it, I do not need to do bash, by the way, as I can run it in a simple way as well, but I have this habit. So now you can see that this is home variable. It has printed it out. Okay, so that's from the third line, but it has also created two files as well, two text files. So if I ls, you can see here it has created the bash text file, and it has created this Linux users here dot text file as well. So the idea is that using bash you could perform multiple commands in a single file, you know, at a single time. So in whichever directory you would be currently in, whenever you will run the bash file, it will execute all the commands inside of it, and it will give you results. Even you can make these bash commands interactive as well. So I hope you have got the concept. The purpose of this video was to give you the basic concept of bash so that you can understand it and you can try different commands on your own. I hope you will try it. Definitely do that, because it is going to increase your knowledge. Practice and practice more with these commands and use them. Okay, it is the only way you're gonna learn. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video, you have learned something new, and I will see you in the next video.